This is Demody Hadley, and she has sued her mother, Desiree Perez, of Rock Nation, stating that her mother was trying to gatekeep her, block her, have her put in a mental institution, and do all kinds of things to her, guys. And this is not alleged. I have the paperwork. It's just a lot of paperwork, and I haven't read all of it. But I'm going to skim through it and show y'all what it's saying. NBC 6 investigates out of South Florida is stating in an article, Demody Hadley claims in a recently filed lawsuit that it was all orchestrated by her own mother and others who should have protected her and failed her. So she says she's alleging the Baker Act. So I'm going to explain to y'all what the Baker Act is. A South Florida woman is taking legal action after she says she spent nearly 2 weeks in mental health institutions for no legitimate reason. Demody Hadley claims in a recently filed lawsuit it was all orchestrated by her own mother and says others who should have protected her failed her. Hadley shared body camera video and dozens of pages of her medical records. She says supports her case. Legally, I can't go home, she asks Broward Sheriff's deputies on the body camera video she shared with NBC 6 Investigates. No, you cannot, because you're being Baker acted, one deputy responded. The video shows the moments in Adania Beach parking lot when BSO deputies encouraged Hadley to get into a gray pickup truck with people she says she didn't know. Earlier in the video, they identified themselves as a mobile crisis unit. I can't drive with you and you guys take me? She asked the deputies on scene. You're going to be in handcuffs. The dog is not going to be able to come, a deputy answered, referencing Hadley's dog, which she was holding in a carrier. I don't want to be in handcuffs, Hadley replied. Okay, we're going to take you to their vehicle, the deputy said. Demody says they took her to a Memorial Regional Hospital for a mental health evaluation after a doctor at the scene signed paperwork saying she was a risk to herself. What he told me was, we received a call from your family that you tried to OD the night before. She explained, adding she had never met that doctor before. That doctor was Daniel Bobet, the chief of psychiatry at Memorial Regional Hospital, who also runs a private practice. This is just reminding me of Rosemary's Baby, when they all was in a cult and they had doctors and everything in it. Anyway, I spoke to your mom, Dr. Bobet tells her in the video. I spoke to your aunt. According to Demody, it's her own mother who is behind the incident. In a lawsuit, she claims her mother, Desiree Perez, used unlawful means to have Demody falsely detained under Florida's Baker Act and Marchman Act. She's the CEO of Rock Nation, which is a company that she owns along with Sean Carter, the famous rapper Jay-Z, Demody said. The complaint alleges a conspiracy saying Perez used her money, power, and influence to tear apart Demody and her husband, Javon Hadley, and created an enterprise of individuals to effectuate her plot. To essentially try to separate me from my husband and to falsely accuse him of domestic violence, Demody said. Perez has repeatedly denied these allegations in court filings. A month before Demody filed her complaint, NBC 6 Investigates found Perez filed her own lawsuit against Demody's husband, Javon, citing evidence Perez says shows he has abused her daughter for years, something the couple has denied in court records. In that lawsuit, Perez says she moved to Baker Act her daughter, fearing she was at risk of suicide and abusing prescription drugs. I haven't seen anything in my entire 20 years of practicing law that is so clear that someone did something wrong, said attorney Hilton Napoleon II. Napoleon is representing Demody in the lawsuit, which also claims Perez harassed the couple for years, including making unfounded claims to get Javon arrested on multiple occasions for battery and domestic violence, charges prosecutors did not pursue. The Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office wrote an 11-page scathing closeout memoranda, which basically said that her mother made false allegations to the police, Napoleon said. In a closeout memo, a prosecutor with the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office cites Demodi's lack of cooperation and raises concerns about some of the evidence and how it was obtained. The prosecutor also wrote Demodi was wrongfully Baker acted last year, something Perez's attorney disputes in a letter challenging that and many of the memo's other conclusions. A spokesperson for the Miami-Dade State Attorney told NBC6 the office stands by their memo. I have 3 different collateral sources of information that say she's been acting psychotic, Dr. Bobet says on the body camera recording, that she threatens to overdose yesterday. Demodi's lawsuit alleges her mother conspired with Dr. Bobet, a prominent psychiatrist, and others to have Demodi committed for a mental health evaluation. Bobet cites supporting evidence from her family in the Baker Act form and diagnosed Demodi with an unspecified psychosis. He ordered Demodi be taken to Memorial Regional Hospital. Results from drug tests taken upon admission were negative, according to records Demodi shared with NBC6 Investigates. They told me your tox screens came out negative, and I go, I know, I don't do drugs, Demodi says. A representative for Dr. Bobet told NBC6 that he is unable to do an interview following the advice of his attorney, adding he was not compensated in connection with Demodi's case. She also shared a statement from Dr. Bobet's attorney which said Demodi was placed under the Baker Act due to the potential risk of imminent harm posed to herself. After meeting with Ms. Hadley and speaking with her mental health provider and members of her family, the decision was made to initiate the Baker Act in order to ensure her safety. This action is consistent with Florida law, which aims to protect individuals experiencing a crisis. Failing to take appropriate action and provide necessary care for Ms. Hadley would have been a breach of Dr. Bobet's ethical and professional obligations. Demodi and her attorney dispute her doctor supported the decision to Baker Act her. In her lawsuit, Demodi also alleges her doctor wrote a letter disputing Demodi's supposed need for treatment or hospitalization. A document Demodi also provided to NBC6 Investigates. Demodi's doctor declined to discuss the case, citing the law that protects patients' privacy. He probably doesn't want to get involved. While Demodi was at Memorial, Perez further petitioned to have her transported to a different facility under Florida's Marchman Act, claiming again in court records that Demodi suffered from severe drug abuse. A judge granted that petition. They ran the test and they knew that she had no drugs in her system and that she was not abusing drugs. And the fact that you can't do anything about it is scary, said Demodi's lawyer. Demodi was sent to a treatment center in Deerfield Beach called Life Skills, where Dr. Bobet serves as medical director. A representative for Dr. Bobet told NBC6 that he evaluated Demodi for 38 hours as part of the Baker Act process and had no involvement in the decision to transfer her to Life Skills or her care afterwards. Where are the people that are supposed to protect me from this happening? Demodi asked during the NBC6 interview. According to her lawsuit, Demodi requested a hair follicle test at that facility called Life Skills, which detects drug use for at least the past 3 months and which showed no drugs had been in her system. Demodi was held at Life Skills until April 8th. The discharge paperwork shared by Demodi cites the Marchman Act's dismissal in court and lists the diagnosis of persistent depressive disorder, which she disputes. No medication was described. Court records show Demodi was able to leave that day after her mother voluntarily dismissed the case. But Demodi says the damage has been done, and she feels a system designed to keep people safe fails to protect her. Money, influence, and power should not be something that's used or abused to hurt innocent people, she said. Perez has filed a motion to dismiss Demoti's complaint, asserting that the Baker Act and other legal proceedings she has undertaken were rooted in legitimate concern for her daughter's safety. Memorial Healthcare says they cannot speak about Demoti's case because of the pending lawsuit. Emails sent to LifeScale South Florida inquiring about this case have not yet been returned. According to BSO, the incident involving Demoti is now internally under review. So she really is suing her mother. This is not hearsay. Here's the paperwork. There's been rumors going on for several years about Roc Nation and them throwing their power around to make people suffer for not going along with whatever it is they want from them. And I guess this may have trickled down even to her own child. But we got to look at the Megan Thee Stallion situation with Tory Lanez and how this Mexican dude just stabbed him up. And the inmates are saying that Tory didn't have no beef in there, that man did that to him out of nowhere. And some are speculating that he was hired by this woman, that she used her power and her influence to have this done to Tory Lanez because Roc Nation might have been behind setting him up. Okay? I'm not saying that is true, but this is the rumor, and it's starting to make sense. Because if you read this paperwork, guys, if you find this paperwork and read it, it's like someone bullying someone and trying to use their influence and power to have an effect on that person's life if they don't go along with whatever it is that they want them to go along with. So it's not too far from how Diddy was acting to me. It's the same type of behavior. So when I say this is a cult, they all feel privileged and like they can make people do whatever they want them to do. But now that this system of criminal activity and bullying and gatekeeping has been brought down almost, not all the way, because it's looking like they're talking about letting Diddy go. And it seems to me like he's a menace, but that's only my opinion. Okay. It's not too far-fetched, guys. If you see they all was clicked up, it's not too far-fetched. Now, mind you, her husband is OG Juan Perez, who some say Ghost was satire about, and he was the one that was with Alpo that time. Remember the story about Alpo and Rich Porter? And they said that Rich Porter was stealing from Alpo and there was a connect involved. Well, this guy, Wong, OG Wong, was the connect. Just like her, she was involved in drugs before. And she got caught up and got arrested. And she told on the whole cartel. She wore a Y on them and everything. Right? She wore a Y on them. And then she got pardoned in 2021 by Donald Trump. But all of these people, I'm telling you, I can see them so clear who they are and what they're doing. And they're trying to portray this image to the world that's false and phony because they have this whole system backing them. And they would rather do that than to be real to their own people, Latinos and Black people, okay? They'll sell you down the river. The Fat Joes, the Desiree Perez's, the J-Lo Lopez's, the Diddy's, the Jay-Z's, the Beyonce's, they all the same people. Because it turns out that story about Rich taking from Alpo wasn't even true. And I know the story very well. And not from the outside, from the inside. So they said that was a lie. Because that 30 keys that Rich Porter had, it came from somebody who gave it to him. He didn't have to never pay it back. And I did a story on him. His name is Fritz. I did a story on him. You could scroll down and see the story I did about those 30 keys, where it came from. So Rich didn't owe nobody no money, and he didn't have to steal and rob from anyone. He called Alpo to help him because he was too hot, because the feds was on them after his brother was kidnapped. And Alpo decided he wanted those keys. That's what that was about. But this guy was good friends with Alpo. And he was a snake then, and he's a snake now. Peace and love.
Treatment.